Bonari FM got you covered everywhere, every time. Tune into 103.5 Bonari FM Okiri. Some rooms are better experienced. Awake.
Ebola FM 103.5. We are on 24/7, 24/7. Round the clock. Ebola FM 103.5. Whole day, all night. Non-stop the live radio broadcast. Join us. Culture and entertainment at their best.
Live right on radio.
From 7 a.m. to 9:30 a.m.
Get your morning inspired. Be informed. Let's interact only on the morning drive.
Make it a date with Martin Efanshuku, aka Meta.
And Christy F.E.M.N.R. aka Classy.
From Monday to Friday, from 7 a.m. to 9:30 a.m.
On the morning drive.
103.5 FM. Good morning and welcome to Ebona the 103.5 FM. Today, the first day of November 2023. The time is a minute past the hour of 7 and it's time for newspaper headlines on Ebona the 103.5 FM. This morning we are going to take you through the news making the headlines on Nigerian newspapers. But before we do that, let's go for a short break. When we come back, we'll continue on the stories making the headlines on Nigerian newspapers. Please stay with us.
Do you know that you have the right to quality broadcasting? The National Broadcasting Commission says any person, group of persons, or organization aggrieved by the content of a broadcast or the conduct of a broadcast station may lodge a complaint to the station and all right to the Director General, National Broadcasting Commission, number 20, Ibrahim Taiwo Street, Asokoro, Abuja, or send a mail via info@nbc.gov.ng. Please ensure that your complaint includes name of the broadcast station, title of the program, date and time of broadcast, and essence of the complaint. Also, remember to include your name, address, telephone number, email, and append your signature. Note that a complaint must reach the NBC within 14 days of the queried broadcast. NBC, your right to quality broadcasting.
You're welcome back to Newspaper Headlines on Ebona, the 103.5 FM. This morning, we are going to take you through the news, making the headlines on the Guardian newspaper, Leadership, Vanguard, Punch, Sun, This Day, The Nation, and if time permits, we're also going to take a look at the Nigerian Tribune. Remember that you can become part of the conversation by sending your reactions via SMS or WhatsApp messages on 080 96661035. You can as well join us on Facebook as we are live at Ebona, the 103.5 FM. Drop your comment on the comment section of the live video. You can equally stream us online via mixlr.com/gistfm. I am Martin. Let's get started with the Guardian newspaper this morning. Snooker Fest to showcase talent of Billard community. ALX Nigeria unveils new cohort of tech pioneers, unleashing potential, transforming the workplace for millions of people with disabilities in Africa. Abuja Lions Club to deliver projects worth over 158 million naira to FCT schools, communities. Legal luminaries, tax lawyers on modalities against death sentence for capital offenders. Urbanization driving demand for fitness facilities in Nigerian cities. Eco-fitness shift. Insecurity. Imo church leaders protest urge federal government to release Nnamdi Kanu. Angola seeks greater economic ties with Nigeria as government, business community meet in Abuja. $7 billion required yearly to eliminate viral hepatitis globally by 2030, says Hepatitis Fund boss. $7 billion required yearly to eliminate viral hepatitis globally by 2030, says Hepatitis Fund boss. Fubara, PDP governors end emergency meeting in Abuja. Institute canvass passage of NITI bills into law. Tinubu intervenes in Rivers political crisis. Governor Muhammad. Anti-graft group asks CCB to probe into alleged $5 billion wealth of Zamfara governor. Reps summon minister over 1 trillion naira conditional cash transfer scheme. 16.25 trillion naira lost to oil theft. $74.386 billion spent on fuel subsidy, says NEITI. 16.25 trillion naira lost to oil theft. $74.386 billion spent on fuel subsidy, says NEITI. Engineers seek review of electricity regulation law. National Assembly receives NTEF FSP as 2.1 trillion naira extra budget gets second reading. Zamfara ex-governor Matawale debunks allegation of fraud under his administration. Tertiary Education Trust Fund announces intervention for public tertiary institutions. Imo Guba, candidates kick over government's hijack of hotel rooms in Owerri. Appeal court affirms Akpoti Udwanga as Kogi Central Senator. Nigerians spend $975 million daily on online betting. Human Rights Writers Association falls centralization of political cases in appeal court. Ganduje receives Akali. Ganduje received Akali. Other decampees from NMPP, PDP. Pinnick sues Davido, demand 2.3 billion naira public apology over alleged breach of contract. Federal government pledges to harness mineral resources for prosperity of Nigerians. Police vow to tackle insecurity, restore sanity in troubled areas. Senate warns Kogi, Imo, Bayelsa voters against electoral manipulations. Group tax Tinubu on cocoa revolution. Stakeholders back rep seeking privatization of police barracks. JCI holds retreat for youths in Ibadan. Ajulu canvasses electronic tax for awaiting trial inmates. NAPTIP, NAPTIP, rallies support for VAPP Act implementation. Lagos assures aggrieved pensioners of arrears. Others. Federal government sets up committee to review gaps in police legal framework. Multi-choice rewards customers with super plus content from today. Protest in Oyo over delay in appointment of new Alafin. Supreme Court resolves land disputes between Abagana and Ukpo communities. Army admonishes troops on rules of engagement. Again, Supreme Court shifts appeal seeking to remove Uzodinma. Esut signs memorandum of understanding with EAI on aircraft engineering. Study wants media to fairly cover women in appointive offices. Bayelsa with Silva's appeal court victory. APC upbeat to unseat Gere. Akwa Ibom government says education critical to Arise agenda or as old students donate library. Akwa Ibom government says education critical to Arise agenda as old students donate library. After appeal court clearance, APC Silvers assures he will unseat Doye Duri in Guba poll. Feminist group raises awareness on prevalence of breast cancer in men. Natasha victory is good omen for Kogi State, says Ajaka. ALX Nigeria unveils new cohort of tech pioneers. Bayelsa poll, APC says no to Bayelsa poll, APC says no more backdoor victory for Diri with silver. Appeal court victory. University of Transportation, Daura to begin session in January 2024. Bayelsa poll, we've taken this. Police Council meets to confirm Egbotokun as Inspector General of Police. Foundation pledges support to reduce out-of-school children in Kanu. Abiodun to deploy CNG buses to students in Ogun campuses. Tertiary Education Trust Fund announces intervention for public tertiary institutions. Senate confirms Adedeji as FRS chairman. Senate confirms Adedeji as FIRS chairman. Federal government to inaugurate presidential task force to monitor power sector. Reps invite Edu over sharing modalities for 1 trillion naira conditional cash transfer program. Tinubu seeks House of Reps approval of 2 trillion naira supplementary budget. Presidency advises Atiku to end vain presidential pursuit. Federal government proposes introduction of tax scheme on sports betting. Human Rights Writers Association condemns Court of Appeals centralization of political cases. Kogi, Imo, Bayelsa, don't submit yourselves to electoral manipulations. Senate beg voters. No plans to redominate Naira, says CBN. Akpabio expresses Nigeria meeting OPEC crude oil quota soon. Lagos Lottery boss extols Sanwo-Olu for achievement at IAGR. Rivers, PDP, NWC calls on Wike Fubara, others to resolve dispute. Impeachment saga, Wike Fubara meets in Abuja. Naira Marley, Sam Larry, sue police magistrate for 20 million naira over continued detention. Tinubu urges police to stop corruption to in citizens' trust. Appeal court affirms Natasha winner of Kogi Central Senatorial seat. Appeal court affirms Natasha winner of Kogi Central Senatorial seat. Akwa Ibom governor alerts public to fraudulent social media account. Tinubu, Atiku, Saraki, Mon, Mwabuese. National Assembly IOCs, IPPG partner on addressing oil production crisis. Moral burden of using tainted celebrities as brand ambassadors, influencers. Tinubu urges police to stop corruption to end citizens' trust. We've taken this. They say an alleged bribery suit adjourned to February. Wema Bank showcases strong Q3 performances. Wema Bank showcases strong Q3 performance. License of 17 discos, Gencos due for renewal. Revocation November 1st. Education Minister laws Enos Educational Developmental Drive. And that's the much we can take from the Guardian newspaper this morning. And from the Guardian newspaper, we'll flip over to the leadership newspaper. No faction in NMPP, says party secretary. We will maintain open door policy. Tinubu assures envoys. Minister invited over 1.1 trillion naira cash transfer sharing formula. Unnecessary air pollution. Again, Supreme Court shifts hearing appeal against Uzodinma. Lawmakers demand justice for slain core member. Tertiary Education Trust Fund tax collection hits record high. Israel-Hamas war. Dozens feared killed in refugee camp blast. Kwakwaso ally, Akali. Others dump NMPP for APC. House to probe BPE under Buhari. P&ID case. A call to action. Tale of Jago community and its struggle to end open defecation. Impeachment saga on ease calm in rivers as Tinubu intervenes. Ebotokun Adedeji confirmed as police revenue agency ships. Supplementary budget, service-wide vote, defense, works top allocations. Supplementary budget, service-wide vote, defense, works top allocations. Apoti wins appeal as court clears silver in Bayelsa race. New CBN forest policy threatens 12 trillion naira poultry industry. Operators, 20 killed, 2 injured in Yobe explosion. Reps to probe British agency. Others for disregarding court verdicts exonerating Aito boss. Court adjourns suit against Monday. Others over vacant Alafin stool. Still on the stories making the headlines on the leadership newspaper this morning. Arise TV's Ruben Abati pens hearty birthday message to third wife. Paris Olympic qualifiers. Ajibade Ochoala scores as Super Falcons trash Ethiopia 4-0 in Abuja. Saudi Arabia to host 2034 World Cup as Australia withdraws bid. Rivers crisis. Reps petitioned over alleged attack on Governor Fubara. Police misconduct. Kanu court sentences 8 cross-dressers to 3 months imprisonment. MetaMask partners blockade on security alerts to avert crypto asset theft. Schneider drives electrical safety with anti-counterfeit campaign. FBN Holdings PLC wins Holding Company of the Year award. 2 years after PIA, operator says investors' uncertainty persists. Eco Fitness brand launches Abuja Hub, redefines wellness. Leisure will accept appeal court's decision on Natasha Governor Bello. Police parade housemaid 14 for killing varsity lecturer. SGORL launches cybersecurity awareness drive in Lagos. Police Council confirms Ebutokun as Inspector General of Police. Police nab boyfriend of lady who died during sex romp in Para. And that's the much we can take from the leadership newspaper this morning. And from the leadership newspaper, we'll flip over to Vanguard newspaper. Alafin's 2. Court adjourns suit filed by 5 kingmakers. Impeachment. Ondo Court finds deputy governor over council's absence. PDP governors welcome Supreme Court judgment. Slam contradictory ruling on Plateau. Tinubu set up Constitutional Review Committee on Police Reforms. More than 65 million Nigerians engage in betting amid economic hardship. Pinnick sues Davido. demands 2.3 billion naira over alleged breach of contract. Fourth Mainland Bridge, Sanwo-Olu, Afrexim, Access Banks seal $1.35 billion partnership pact. Senate, Sani, others advocate MBS inclusion into Federal Executive Council. We want to return, but can't. We called envoys. Rivers, Tinubu waits in. Wike, Fubara meet. Greet in Abuja. Lagos police declare war against kidnappers. Others. Bandits kill 1, abduct 25 in southern Kaduna. Police declare war against kidnappers. Others in Lagos. Mother of Mina, varsity lecturer, housemaid, arrested by police. Stop female genital mutilation. It endangers life. Igbo communities warned. Legislative staff locked out Anambra lawmakers. Legislative staff lock out Anambra lawmakers. Electricity operators seek cost-reflective tariff as subsidies hit 3.34 trillion naira. We will make solid minerals our largest source of revenue, Tinubu. Labour storms Owerri to shut down air, land, and sea transportation. That's the much we can take from the Vanguard newspaper this morning. You're tuned to Ebona at 103.5 FM, and this is newspaper headlines from the Vanguard, from the leadership newspaper. We're flipping over to the Sun newspaper this morning. And on the Sun newspaper this morning, Tribunal upholds former Taraba Speaker's election. Hoodlums kill 1, kill 5 in Kaduna. Troops kill wanted bandits, kingpin in Kebbi. Troops kill wanted bandits, kingpin in Kebbi. Arrest 34 gun runners, kidnappers in Kaduna, Plateau. National Assembly okays 2.17 trillion naira supplementary budget for second reading. Tinubu mediates in Rivers political crisis as Peter Side urges gladiators to let reasons prevail. PDP asks Wike Fubara to embrace peace. Governors vow to strengthen reposition party. Nasarawa's political powerhouses proclaim unity for state progress. Respite in Niger Delta as first batch of aircraft engineers graduate. MBA Nnewi Law Week. Allow female lawyers more opportunities. Dr. Iluka. DEPOWA describes immediate past president as uncheckable pillar. GOGIS generates 2 billion naira profit for GOGIS generates 2 billion naira profit for Gombe. Zamfara. Governor Lawal receives reports on workers' pension contributions. Gazua Urban Renewal Project. We will not give fake doctors quacks breathing space. Nigerian Medical Association share. KB Governor approves posting of 4 permanent secretaries. Army kills notorious wanted bandit kingpin in KB. Fierce fighting in Gaza as Israeli forces tank attack main city. Militants fight back. Nze Meka K. Mbemelu, appointed official spokesperson of the Sam Jones 2023 campaign. MetaMask partners blockade on security alerts to avert billions in crypto assets theft. Good governance group set to reward best performing Nigerian leaders. Tension in Rivers, security beefs up over attack on Rivers House of Assembly. Tension in Rivers, security beefs up over attack on Rivers House of Assembly. Innocent. Federal government deserves kudos for paving way for CNG vehicles by ending fuel subsidy. Innocent. Federal government deserves kudos for paving way for CNG vehicles by ending fuel subsidy. And that's the much we can take from the Sun newspaper this morning. And from the Sun newspaper, we'll flip over to the Daily Post newspaper. How N1tr, Plateau government, rescued 21 children from traffickers. Wike finally reacts to crisis in rivers. We will partner NIDCOM to promote Nigeria. Minister of Interior, Tunji Ojo. 34 companies shut down by Lagos government over tax debts. Police Council confirms Ebotokun substantive Inspector General of Police. I have no complicated relationship with my father, Bishop Oyedepo's son. 2.1 trillion naira supplementary appropriation bill scales second reading in Senate. Supreme Court's judgment is the law's doing. Uluremi Tinubu. Bayelsa Guba poll. Judiciary has vindicated itself. Say over. National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons rescues 14 children trafficked from Plateau. Wike versus Fubara. PDP governors gather in Abuja for emergency meeting. Yewa Awori occupies a special position in our developmental drive. Governor Abiodun. That's the much we can take from the Daily Post newspaper this morning. And from the Daily Post newspaper, we'll flip over to the Nation newspaper. Canada pledges $18 million for humanitarian responses in Nigeria. Fubara, Wike feud. Tinubu, PDP governors mediate. Lagos secures $1.35 billion deals for Fourth Mainland Bridge, Blue Rail. Federal government workers wage award in 2.1 trillion naira supplementary budget. Appeal Court affirms Natasha Akpoti Uduanya as Kogi Central Senator. NEDC lifts victims of Medugri market fire with 2 billion naira. Lagos shuts 34 firms over tax debt. President woes Belgian, Norwegian investors. Motion on injunction. Court finds Ayedatiwa. Tinubu declares war on sharp practices in mining sector. That's the much we can take from the Nation newspaper this morning. You are tuned to Ebona at the 103.5 FM, and this is Newspaper Headlines. We will now go for a short break. When we come back, we'll continue on the stories making the headlines on this day newspaper. Please stay with us.
Officer Makomato Soke, is he Lagos, is he Abuja, is he Anambra, Tibekwe Gunya, any hotel mother can not be in
One cafe na Dokasekwan can introduce you to the Nigerian hotel chain, Residency Hotels. It's all shut down in Lagos. Iga Chufana, Lagos International Airport Road, or Ibiana Lekki Phase 1, or Chuafana Lekki or Sapa London, Lagos. It was down on Abuja when the residency in area 11, Gaki, on Akwana Guzape, no Akwana Otako, Abuja. Ibanyo were only Chuafana Port Harcourt Road, Owerri. Ozaki Sibayana Anambra, Chai, one the Nedon Mosibon, one Nachubiano Gidi, na Anambra State. Ibu Aritaja Batanianuku State, 7/8 North Street, Independence Laos. We enjoy the luxurious furnished rooms and suites. Restaurants are okay. They have two sides here and there, an outside door bar where you are entertained with drinks brewed in different parts of the world. You can also book and pay online at tiptopgo.com or www.myresidencyhotel.com.
One open of that Residency Hotel, all the
n'ife gbasara okirikiri ebe anyị bi omenala ọdịbendị nchebụ akpa sonyere somti n'oge Obodeze na 103.5 FM nọ n'Obodeze ife na-eme ife na-eme.
Hello, Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Friday is the most favorable day of the week. So hook up with DJ Easy every Friday by 9 p.m. on Ebona the 103.5 FM. This is a program where we bring onto you entertainment and the best of fun, and also give you the privilege to make some music requests. TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. Don't miss this every Friday night by 9 p.m. with DJ Easy on Ebona, the 103.5 FM of the
Hello, Friday.
How best can we talk about the challenges we are having on our streets, our community, our society in general? Street report. If we do not address these challenges on Ebona FM, who will? As the happenings around us get as complicated as they can be.
Our government,
Whatever Street report is here to make sense of it all. Street report is causing social change across your streets. Your community. Street report is here with hardcore journalism to get to the roots of our problem. Why don't you join me, Martin Ifanishku, number the first every Friday, 4:30 p.m. on Ebona 103.5 FM as Street Reports unfolds
in your face.
On Ebona the corner
24/7, 24/7.
You're welcome back to Newspaper Headlines on Ebona, the 103.5 FM. Remember that you can become part of the conversation by sending your reactions via SMS or WhatsApp messages on 080-96661035. You can as well join us on Facebook as we are live at Ebona, the 103.5 FM. Drop your comment on the comment section of the live video. You can equally stream us online via mixlr.com/gistfm. We are on to this day newspaper. Tinubu intervenes in Fubara Wike feud. Zenith Bank caps Stella Q3 2023 performance with triple-digit growth. House to probe BPE over privatization, commercialization of public enterprises. NDIC refunds 1.2 billion naira to 34,000 depositors of microfinance banks. Senate confirms Adedeji, FIRS chairman. Stock market gains 10.12 trillion naira LN 10 months. Stock market gains 10.12 trillion naira in 10 months. Access Bank, Afrexim Bank seal deal to support projects in Lagos State with $1.352 billion. Airtel Africa reports $13 million loss after tax in Q1 2023. Of CBN policy changes and value of cement manufacturers report record 970.2 billion naira cost of sales on inflation, FX crisis. Manufacturing, KPMG cautions against adopting development plans from other nations. New millionaires emerge in FCMB promo. Lapo MFB emerges Microfinance Bank of the Year. BUA Cement PBT down 3.4% on 26.9 billion naira net exchange loss. Guinea Insurance assures shareholders. Stakeholders brainstorm on improving pension fund allocation. Food security. FEM unveils solutions to curtail farm yield losses. Is it auspicious for National Assembly members to use imported utility vehicles? As Sule moves to reclaim mandate as Nasarawa at appeal court. Time is now for Tinubu to set up governance. For Tinubu, it's time for governance. INEC's hasty removal of Silva's name from Guba list as Bawa regains freedom. Christian Association of Nigeria. Okay. Still on the stories making the headlines on this day newspaper this morning. Kumi abroad, Africa's new narrative. Femi Otedola's tireless philanthropic gesture comes to play once again. And that's the much we can take from this day newspaper this morning. You are tuned to Ebona at the 103.5 FM, and this is newspaper headlines. And with that, from this day newspaper. That will mark the conclusion of all that we have for you on this particular edition of Newspaper Headlines on Ebona Day 103.5 FM. We will now flip over to our WhatsApp portal to bring you reactions. And this morning, we have a message from Honorable Obasi, aka Authority is More Than Power. And he says, issue of Supreme Court adjourn seeking to remove Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State on December is a welcome development, but you should know that Nigerian citizens have rules. Hope on judiciary because of their past political judgment, and you should know that we Nigerians have seen 99, which is 100. May God help Nigerians. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We also have a message coming from famous Christian, and he's joining us from Ifite village, Aguluzibo. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have a message from Bishop Peter Okudeba from Nkwero Gidi, and he says to Article to go and okay, he said I said to Article to go and rest. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have a message coming from Christian Upondo from Onitsha, and he says I suggest to Tinubu and his cabinet to do something fast to release Nnamdi Kanu, who has been illegally detained after he has won in different courts in Nigeria. Delaying the release of this innocent man may bring what can pass human imagination. So I submit by saying that Nnamdi Kanu should be released with immediate effect to avoid series of civil disobedience. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have a message. This one is coming from Waloto Patrick from Unteje, and it says, I think Human Rights Writers Association is right for blaming the appeal court for whatever problem that is bedeviling the Nigerian political system. I will even add that it is not only the appeal court, but the entire judiciary system. He says, look at the kind of judgment the courts deliver at one time or another today. High Court will deliver one judgment. Tomorrow, the appeal court will upturn it for one reason or another. I am therefore appealing to Nigerian political system to rise to the occasion and again become what it used to be as the last hope of the common man. I'm equally elated to hear that the land boundary between Abagana and Ukpo communities have been finally resolved by the Supreme Court after all. Now, Opuno Oka. Okunoka Aboloni, okay, it says Okunoka Aboloni, thanks again. He's coming from Waloto Patrick from Unteje. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have a message. This one is coming from Valentine Edene from Upo, and he says, all I know is that cabals and Tinubu governments are responsible for Nnamdi Kanu's detention, but sooner than later, Pharaoh must let my people go. None of Israelites will perish in current Egypt of our time. Valentine Edene from Upo, and he continued that he says, Nigerian pastors, take it easy. David Oyedepo's son quit living faith church, aka Winners Chapel, went ahead to open his own church simply because he wants to be controller, overseer of money. My question is, if church doctrine more is important than Bible doctrine, or being good shepherd, which is way of God, and give from love in the communities. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have a message coming from Paul Imuizu from Onitsha, and it says Natasha's victory is God's own victory. Wike is washing the back of the plate. God knows the truth, and whatever comes from the lip side goes to the mouth side. No governorship election in River State during election period. Wike selected who he wants. So think about the crisis in the state. What is the cause? Rivers answer. Pauline Wizu from Onitsha. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have a message from the boss from Okozo, and he says, protest, Imo women are right to protest because since all these killings, nothing has been done than the killing. Release Mazen and the Kano now for people to have peace. And then the boss continued again and says, whosoever that is supporting Hamas, Gaza should know that Israel is God's own people. No weapon formed against them shall prosper. The boss. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have a message, and this one is coming from Chike Obata from Obinetiti Okozo, and he says, kudos to those protesting in Imo to seek for Nnamdi Kanu's release. Congratulations to Messi for the award he won. Please let the federal government look into this insecurity in Kaduna because it has been long. Tinubu should stop praising Supreme Court because their judgment in this presidential election is painful to the righteous people in this country called Nigeria. As Bawa regain freedom, please let Nnamdi Kanu regain his own freedom too. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have a message. This one is coming from Obiora from Okozo, and he says, Reps, someone minister over 1 trillion conditional cash transfer scheme. My question to Reps, what is the difference between that minister and the Reps? Because the Reps are in position to summon the minister who summons the Reps over the expensive car they want to buy or already bought. Why Nigerians are dying in hunger? And he says poverty is not corruption. And he says, please, reps, if you want to fight corruption, start from yourselves. And then he says, Tinubu tells police to stop corruption. How can Tinubu say such a thing to police that helps him to intimidate and okay? And he says it's not possible because Buhari has introduced corruption to the top. And he says, if foundation is faulty, what can the righteous do? Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have a message. This one is coming from Engineer Ebuka Nwabufo from Amawa Obunike, and he says, former governor of Rivers State should let the present one will in peace. No more Godfather in River State. He should face his new appointment in Abuja. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have a message. This one is coming from Amechi Anene from Uwowel and he says, let the federal government do the needful and release Nnamdi Kanu. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have a message. This one is coming from Ebuka, Engineer Ebuka Nwabufo from Amawa Obunike once again, and he says the former governor of River State should let the present governor to rule in peace. No more Godfather. Okay, you've said this before, but thank you so much for joining us this morning. We'll now flip over to our SMS portal to bring you more reactions. Due to network issue, we can't bring you reactions from our SMS portal this morning. So we apologize to everyone who is trying to reach us via our SMS portal. But let's acknowledge Ekene Chukwu Daniel for joining us on Facebook. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And this is the spot where we'll call it a day on this particular edition of Newspaper Headlines on Ebona at 103.5 FM. Remember, it comes your way, weekdays in the morning once it's 7 o'clock. So keep a date. And don't touch the dial of Ebona at 103.5 FM. Once it's 8:20, we'll be back with Birthday Splash. Until we meet again, I am Martin. Have a wonderful morning.
sama nkwa mmadụ so ezi Lagos ezi Abuja ezi Anambra tibekwa Enugu na ya kedu họteelụ mmadụ ga-anọdụ n'ime eze
Nwanne ka efe na-adọkasịkwanụ ka introduce oge to the Nigerian hotel chain Residency Hotels. Ịtọcha down na Lagos, ị ga-achụkwa na Lagos International Airport Road or ị bịa na Lekki Phase 1 or 12 London, Lagos. Ịtụọ down na Abuja nwanne Residency nọ na Area 11 Garki, ọ nọkwa na Guzape n'ọkwa na Utako, Abuja. Ịbanye Owerri onye m chụọfa na Port Harcourt Road, Owerri. Onwezi ka isi banye na Anambra, chai nwanne na-edo m ozugbo nwanne ịchụbịa na Ogidi na Anambra State. Ibugharịtazi abata n'Enugu State 7/8 Northia Street, Independence Layout. You enjoy the luxurious furnished rooms and suites. Restaurant if the okay.